Hello, hello. I wanted to do another tutorial on the same stamp. I showed you how to do this one with the purple and the green. This one I want to do white tulips with just green. And I think it is going to turn out really cool. So let's get started. First off, this is a very more artistic look to it. So it's not going to look, it's just going to look very atmospheric. And so it actually is going to look really fun, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint everything except the tulips. So if you felt like, oh, that purple one is just too much for me, I'm probably not ever going to do that. Maybe you'll try one. And this would be great for most floral stamps that you have. And I didn't want to just end that tutorial with just one way because there's multiple ways. And I'm using this is called a quill brush or a mop brush. It kind of, some mop brushes like this one, this is a quill brush from Princeton Neptune. I totally recommend this brush. It is a little bit spendy. I use it for a lot of my watercolor cards. It's not something that I would just let anyone use. Like I wouldn't let my students use it because it's my brush. But if you had one, you're absolutely going to love it. And I think artists are most particular on their brushes. And for you that are new, I'm sorry. Like if you ever see an artist and they're like, no, don't touch my brush. It's because they really, like, they're expensive. I don't think you need an expensive brush for this class. A cheap one from Walmart will do just fine. Alright, so because this is more atmospheric, I'm taking the liberty to just paint wherever I feel like. I just love Brushos. I have this really pretty and because I can, I'm going to use my artistic license to get this to flow. Okay. So that was the fun part. I mean, that was an easy, put some water on, put some Brusho on, call it good, right? So now, this is where it gets a little more tricky. I don't know if tricky is the word for it, but it can get a little more messy, I guess. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, but I love some of that texture that we're bringing. I'm going to bring up that, and I'm painting everywhere but the white of the tulips. And I really think that this is a really fun way to, if you're not a seasoned Brusho fan and you're trying this out for the first time, this can be a very intimidating process. I don't want it to be intimidating for anybody, especially the people I teach. So this is maybe a more intimidating process. And you guys also have to remember that the hardest part is just starting. All right, so I'm still using that emerald green. And because I only put water on the background and not on the tulips are, there might be Brusho on the tulips, but I can like blow it away and you're not going to tell that there's Brushos on the tulips. Okay, I'm afraid if I do much more, I'm not going to like it. Now I know watercolor practice has told me that Brusho is going to go where the water is. So if I don't want the water, if I don't want something to get in, all I have to do is just kind of tilt it one way, move the pigment around, and it'll go. I don't have to worry about it. And then I'm always watching out for that edge. I really, really like that. So I'm just going to let that kind of run. Do you see how it's just bleeding? And I'm being very, very careful. All right. This is really pretty. It almost has this like marble look to it. There's the process. There's the background. Now what I could do is, because I really like that yellowish green, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pull some of that color. I'm just gonna go over each of the tulips with a light glaze, and it's gonna just marry. I don't want it to be stark white. That's why I'm doing this. But I really love that background. And I'm okay if the blue blends in a little bit, because it's supposed to look artistic. All right, so my whites are done. Now I'm gonna go into this emerald. I'm gonna just make a little puddle of emerald there. And I'm gonna take my little, this is my it's a script or a liner 6 brush, so it has a really long this is the ferrule, this is the brush, so it has a very long brush on it. And I'm going to go in, and then I'm just going to lightly dab where my leaves are. So your eye can look at some of the, like, your eye is going to be able to say, oh, those are tulips, because I'm now painting the leaves and the stems. It just doesn't look like those tulips are floating, and yet it looks like there's just a tiny bit of color to the tulips, so it looks like you almost painted the whole thing in one fell swoop. There's that. Now I am going to use some moss green, I think, just to add a different tint to it, along with my Brusho. And anywhere where I think the green needs to be dark, I'm just adding that dark to it. Now I went into the lines, which is not what I wanted with that tulip, so I can always erase with more water, and then just soap up the there. Now you can't tell that I made that mistake. And wherever you think, I'm going to need some more moss brown green. There. Ooh, that's probably more than I need. It's either too much or too little. It's never the perfect amount. That's why watercolor is so fun. It's always kind of a challenge. I enjoy it. There, like that. Now this leaf needs some dark green, and it's going to need some more emerald. Ooh, I like that. And I think this is gonna have an extra little bit. I'm gonna leave that green bright, vibrant like that. All right, now I'm gonna take my emerald green again, make another little pile right there. There's my emerald green. It's a lot lighter, a lot greener. I'm pretty sure it has some kind of turquoise in it or something. And I'm going to just sprinkle it on. Why not? There we go. I think it's gonna look fantastic when it's done. When it's done drying. And then if you still needed just a little bit more it's just not, you're just not loving the tulips right now, you can go back in and add more of that emerald green. Why don't we? I don't really want to add too much, but I see that it needs some right here. So I'll go ahead and lightly tap and then blow it away. Or use your fingers and blow it away. There. I don't want to mess with the freshness of it, but I do want it to get a little bit darker. And then maybe same thing down here. Kind of see. Now this emerald green, I think should be more like called like blue sky, or I don't know, something. It's not really emerald green. I don't know. But I really like this one too. There's not a color I don't like. There. Yeah, that's looking really cool. And again, you just want to pay attention to you want contrast, but not starking contrast where you're like, whew, that's definitely not going to work. And I'm going to do some right here too. So it looks like I did not get water right there. Or if there was, it didn't quite work there. And that's going to look good. There. Now if we had all the edges looking dark green, then it's going to look not as artistic. So I'm going to leave it just like that and enjoy that. Yeah, just enjoy it. And then if you really wanted to be brave, which I haven't quite decided if I'm going to be brave, but maybe I will, I'm going to dab up a little bit of the Brusho that I know is on here. And then I'm going to take my squirt bottle and I'm going to spray like, I don't know, I want to say this is about 2 feet in the air. And I'm just going to spray it just a tiny bit, see kind of where the crystals are going, which it doesn't look like it's going too much, but the extra crystals that are left over will just kind of burst into something, and you can't, I mean, you can't control it, but then you do get an extra little bit of that color onto the tulips. You can kind of see. Isn't that pretty? And then if you wanted the tulips to have like a golden feel, or let's see, maybe we'll try this gold iridescent. Isn't that pretty? Then I can just go in, tap, tap, tap on the tulips. And it will give it a golden look, and it'll have some iridescent quality, and that really did set it off. I'm glad I chose to do that. So there you go. If you had some of that sprinkle it, you could sprinkle that on. You can kind of see the glimmer. Yeah, you can see the shimmer. Isn't that beautiful? So you don't have to use 2 colors if you don't want it to get muddy. If you're feeling like, ooh, I might get this a little bit muddy, I don't know which one you like, but this one really turned out cool with just the 1 color. So play around with that too. White tulips are a thing, you know, and I had white tulips in my wedding, and I have a special place in my heart for white tulips, and white tulips in a field just make me happy. So anyways, I hope you give this a try too. There's so many fun combinations and atmospheric watercolor effects that you can get with Brushos if you know how to use them. So enjoy the process is what I tell you.